So just a couple months ago, my parents got separated for the second time. It came as a shock to me. I didn't know they were having problems. And I say again because they got separated about 5 years ago for a couple months. But after those months, my dad had moved in and life went on, and it seemed to be normal. But that time when they got separated, I was very hesitant to tell anybody. I didn't tell my best friend that my dad had moved out until a week, until he moved back in again. And that was about 8 months that he was out of the house. And I think I was focused so much on having the perfect family or being normal. Yeah. And I just wasn't okay with the idea. But after the shock of this time, them telling me, we're getting separated again and blah, blah, blah. I felt much more comfortable with the situation. They, things are different. I can tell there are more tensions now. If they were to get a divorce, it'd be much easier. Both my sister and I are over 18. We're not in the house anymore. She is older than me, so she's almost non-dependent on them at all. But recently it's just kind of hit me. They don't have a reason to be separated. They bicker just like, yes. And we've sat down, and we've talked about it both. But I mean, when I'm at home, we go out to dinner together. My dad will come over to our house, even though he lives in a condo now, which I've never been to his condo, but we talk about it, and it's like, oh, you need pictures? Like, I'll get you some. But, recently, just this past break when I went home, my mom and I were talking, and she said that her and my dad had been the most worried about me because I'm the younger one, and I had such a hard time with it last time. They felt bad for me, and I want to be grown up about it, and I have been, but then there's still a little part of me that's like, well, why are you going to tell me? You're basically going to get a divorce, but not when. Because that's what my mom told me this past break. Like, it's been about 9 months that they've been separated now. There's not probably a good chance that they're, getting back together. But I guess it's just kind of, I look at them and be like, y'all are the worst. How you tell me things is the worst possible way. But so I guess just dealing with that, knowing it's going to happen soon, but not when. And when they do get a divorce, my dad's a lawyer. He'll write it up. They're not going to get other people to do it with them.
Well, I mean, that can be good too.
Yeah, they don't argue, there's no yelling, they've never yelled or anything like that. And I almost wish there was, like, not another person, but like a reason why this happened, because it's been so almost casual that it's hard, I guess, for me to wrap my head around it. And when people ask me, oh, your parents were separated, why? Well, I don't really know why, because they don't really know why. And it's all been just kind of a culmination of, I'm much more okay to talk about it now and stuff like that, but it's still kind of like, well, okay, this, because it's such a family dynamic change, I guess.
Oh, okay. Lindsay, could you summarize for me what her whole conversation was about?
Catherine was talking to me about her parents' separation for the second time and just kind of how she's feeling about it, what she wishes would happen. She was talking about how the first time she felt a lot more upset about it, but the second time she feels more comfortable, even though she kind of wishes there was a reason why, or a definitive reason that her parents told her why this was happening. But it seems like a pretty easy-going divorce compared to most, even though it's still, like she said, hard for her to deal with and hard for her sister to deal with, even if they are out of the house and somewhat independent.
Okay. Did you notice any shifts in the conversation?
I liked the shift. I like that you told me about your parents' initial separation and then went on to explain how this one is different from that. But it pretty much just kind of stayed on the one topic.
Did you forget to listen at any time?
No.
Okay. Did anything happen that made it hard for you to listen?
No. Being on film, but no.
Okay, how would you describe the client's speaking style?
I think she was very comfortable in telling me about it. I think that there are times when she was kind of saying things that were harder to talk about. You would kind of shift down in your voice, or you would use humor and kind of say things sarcastically to explain it rather than keeping the same tone and stuff like that.
What about just overall speech pattern? I guess you just kind of explained that. Okay. Well, I thought that you did a good job. You weren't overly encouraging, but whenever you did speak, it sounded like you were coming from kind of like the same page. Like you knew, it sounded like you knew where she was coming from, like that you had experienced something similar, because you weren't like overly like tell me more. You didn't dig for details that you knew would probably be like a little more painful. Just definitely trying to get an overall sense of the situation, and it sounded like you knew you pretty much got everything that she was saying. I think you did a good job.
Sweet. And I felt very comfortable with Lindsay. There were, with the topic at hand, she knew when it was comfortable to laugh with me, when it wasn't. And so I felt very comfortable with her. And I felt every time she did interject with comments or verbal responses that they were right and appropriate for the situation and the dynamic that we had going on.